Hi, I probably am not going to pronounce this correctly, but I'll give it a go. Franz Xaver Freiherr von Wöhrer. He was a Second World War German flying ace. He was also a prisoner of war at Grisdale Hall near Hawkshead, not that far away from where we are here in Barrow-in-Furness. His story is told in the old black and white film The One That Got Away, starring Hardy Kruger in the lead role. As the film suggests, in 1940 he made an attempt to escape, though his efforts failed on that occasion. Sometime later he did manage to finally escape captivity. He was being held by the Canadians at that point, and he found his way back to Germany, though sadly he was killed in action a few months later. He is the only Axis prisoner officially to have successfully escaped during the Second World War. Not that prisoners didn't try to escape, many did, but they were all recaptured. Grisdale Camp was known as Camp 1, that was his official designation. Camp 198 was at Bridgend in South Wales. And on the 10th of March 1945, so not that long before the end of the war really, 67 German POWs tunnelled out of the camp. They tunnelled under the perimeter fence through thick clay, using methods not that indifferent to the famous Great Escape in Stalag Luft III by Allied troops the year previous. It resulted in one of the biggest manhunts in UK history. By the time it was reported by the BBC on the radio, 23 had already been recaptured. Within 2 days, there were only 2 that were still at large. But as alerts went out across the country, with military personnel, police, the Home Guard, and hundreds of civilians looking for them, after nearly a week, they too were caught. That's the official line. Being an island nation, I suppose, really helps. It really has its benefits when it comes to such a thing. There was no escape, not without collaboration and help. The Bible poses many questions. One such question is found in Hebrews chapter 2, verse 3, and asks, how shall we escape if we neglect so great salvation? The answer is clear. There is no escape. There's no possibility of collaboration or help in this matter. God has provided the only means of escape. Escape from his wrath, his judgment upon our sin. God's means of escape is faith in the person of his own beloved Son. God sent his Son to suffer the wrath that our sin deserves. He sent his Son to die upon a cross so that you and I needn't face his wrath. We can be free from the condemnation against our sin by accepting that Jesus died on the cross for us. Knowing, as Paul expressed it in Romans chapter 8 verse 32, that God spared not his own Son, that is, spared him not one bit of his wrath against our sin. Because while the Lord Jesus Christ was on that cross, the Bible tells us that God took our sin and placed them upon his beloved Son. And then he brought down his wrath and his judgment that our sin deserves. And he spared not his Son one drop of that wrath, not one bit of that judgment. He spared not his own son so that he could spare you and me. You want a means of escape? A means of escape from the wrath of God? There is only one way. It is through the person of the Lord Jesus Christ. If there was any other way, God would not have sent his son to that cross. And God would not have asked his son to bear the wrath and the judgment that our sin deserves. There is only one way. And how shall we escape? If we neglect so great a salvation, if we reject the offer of salvation that God makes through the person of his beloved Son, how shall we escape? There is no escape. To not put your faith and your trust in Jesus Christ is to sit condemned already and to face God in a coming day and face God's wrath, God's judgment against your sin. Put your faith and your trust in the person of the Lord Jesus Christ. Accept that when he died upon that cross, he died there for you. And put your faith and your trust in him. God bless.